All right, hey everyone. I'm the tent guy, and ironically, I have the event guy on. That's his Instagram name, and he'll probably get into more of that. But his name is Tim, and he owns a pretty big company out in California. So why don't you introduce yourself, Tim, and give us some background?
Hello from not so sunny, chilly. Got down into the 50s this week in Southern California. So I'm wearing all my heavy duty clothing. It's pretty crazy. We don't handle the rain and the cold weather very well at all. Been in the industry almost 30 years and have watched it evolve in all kinds of different directions. I've definitely chased a lot of rabbits down a whole lot of holes. And one of the things I've loved that you've done is you've simplified helping people get started in an industry that is in much need of supplies, especially right now. It's gone crazy.
Yeah, it is. Like it was scary at first, but then
Yeah,
everyone realized, there's still going to be some things happening. A lot of things, actually.
yeah. There's a good outlook for us. It's just having the forbearance and the creativity to kind of adapt. The No one knows what the new norm is, but I do know that, we can do what we can today. We just had yesterday all of our restaurants are allowed to open up again in like the parking lots. And that was a big deal because they got all completely shut down and we're going crazy down here. I don't know how the rest of the country is doing, but definitely from a business owner and a father and a husband, the EBGBs are kicking in and we got to start doing stuff.
Right. Yeah. Around me, restaurants have been able to stay at 50% capacity. So they haven't been hit that hard, but still, margins in a restaurant aren't that great. And now you already cut it down by 50%. So not
Yeah.
doing that well.
Are you guys doing, I'm curious, nationwide, are you guys doing a ton of tents out in the parking lots for all the restaurants?
Yes, people will comment. There are some that watch and they talk about it. I actually haven't gotten that many because they're still 50% open. I did buy a 40 by 60 and charge the customer an extra 5,000. And they bought it through me. And we put up a 40 by 60 at this one nicer, finer establishment. But beyond that, around me, there's not many tents that are going up because they still have indoor capacity.
Hollywood went crazy. They shut down the streets to give the store owners an opportunity to have outside food service. When they did that, it just turned into a zoo of. We had a very large company. They were getting $400 for per 10 by 10.
Really?
It got out of control. We sold out all of our tents, and then we started making. We used our stage and trussing to create mesh top coverings, like for a video shoot. So we do tents and other things, but tent related, we ran out of tents pretty fast, and so we started getting creative with trussing and other shaded structures, from umbrellas to you name it. But people were dying just to get open outside and get things going. As we tried to pivot and bend and service them the best we could.
Right. Well, so why don't you get into what you do, like how you got started and how it evolved into
I
various
have
things?
a crazy story. So for those of you out there that never thought you'd be doing tents, you'll love this story. I spent 4 years in Bible college and 3 years in seminary and wanted to be a youth pastor.
Mhm.
And in doing youth camps in Washington State, I got into, ironically, I did some events with obstacle courses and team building. And the Bill Gates's admin back in 1991, 92, her kids were at this camp. And so I get a call about 2 weeks later, and they want to know if I could do adult activities like at the camp. So the next thing I know, I'm running around doing stuff for Microsoft. And then after Microsoft, we got Boeing and then Nike in Portland. And we quickly grew with interactives. And that's kind of my core value. I focus on, there's so many events out there, and some of you guys are phenomenal for weddings, and some are great for, backyard events. Some are great for a lot of things. I really focus and try to maintain a core value of dynamic social interaction. Thus, Interact Event Production is the name of the actual company that our event guys work for. That being said, it was about 2 years after doing these, I literally was doubling my prices, and we started getting into then picnics. And what comes with picnics? Shade. What comes with shade? Tents. And so in 1994, 596, I got my first 10 buys and 20 buys, and then I jumped to 30 buys, and then I jumped to 40 buys. And for those of you in the tent industry that have got a bunch of 20 buys and 10 buys, enjoy that, because when you get to 30s and 40s, you start getting into where you need some technical help, wind shear, winching them up, staking them down, tethering them properly. I had a very rough tent. We had an Indian reservation that had a big powwow. And one of my first we had 4 40 by 100s. Do the math on that. It was a big one. I had one of them implode because we didn't use the corner braces properly. And so that's, I think I've learned almost everything the hard way. There wasn't a tent guy when I was younger kind of helping remind us of the little stuff. So I had several years where I just, I had to do the tents because it was a staple with everything we were doing. And since I've gotten very savvy at what kind of tents we run, I tried the pole tents, we've done the pumpkin patch, carnival style. We've done a lot of different variables, but over the years, I've learned for me that simple really, really works well. And you get a couple guys that understand your type of simple. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, then there's the tent guy way. And training that is actually really hard, but ironically, it's been very, when you make as many mistakes as I've made over the years, you tend to go right to the key points when you're training a new team. We recently did, as in before COVID, we did our largest event was a pretty well-known event. It's the Vegan Street Fair Festival. We did 210 10 by 10s with 86 full food service wraps with 210 sign marquees. Somewhere on my Instagram, you'll see a drone video and you'll see the drone fly by. It's almost a mile long of straight tents. That was one of the hardest, most difficult events. We had to work with other companies, and with other companies are other philosophies, and with other philosophies, there's challenges. And so we pulled it off. We had a super happy customer. Definitely learned experience, and they were actually one of the first big events to cancel. We literally last March had our calendar get completely wiped for the year. All returning customers, deposits on events. I was like, how can I even pay the deposits back? Because we use the deposits to kind of keep the ball moving during the slow season. So when COVID hit, it freaked me out. I mean, I'm an extreme athlete. I do dirt bikes and I race.
Yeah. So I saw on your channel you were racing motorcycles. Were you racing a car too, or was that someone else in the car?
I do. Okay. Car racing, dirt bikes,
jumping, jet skis and stuff. Yeah, it seems pretty fun.
I'm 55 years old, 33 broken bones, 9 surgeries later. I'm trying to act more my age than I used to.
So are you still doing 40 wides, or you try to get events into 10 buys and 20 buys?
That's a good question, and I was going to try to avoid that because I don't want to discourage anybody. But honestly, I sub my 40 buys. And the reason why I sub my 40 buys is because they come in so many flavors. We do a lot here in Southern California. You only have so many parks. And so our corporate events are, especially our adult only corporate events, are Monday through Fridays. And it's easy to get a good deal from a couple of people I'm in business with that take great care of me. And they'll come out and they'll pop up a 40 by 120 in 45 minutes.
Right.
And if you had my crew do it, it would be a 3-hour project and fingers crossed the whole time. So we've actually gotten very content. We've gone to all tension pagoda style tents. We do have some of our older frame tents that we use for building the 10 buys and the 20 buys for longer configurations. But I love the 20-foot span of the tension tops. I don't do any pole. I got rid of all of our 40 wides, and pole tents are gone, and we sub those out quite a bit. You could almost argue the business sense behind that, because if I did the math on what I sub out, it's probably justifiable. But man, I tell you, we've gotten into other things like catering and tables and chairs, and behind me we have a bunch of pipe and drape up for a virtual trade show shoot we're doing and stuff like that. So it's just for our business plan and our core value focus, we've stuck with the 10 buys, the 20 buys, with just a few selective 30 buys.
Right. Because you have I want to call it, you're renting an experience, and that's what
Yeah,
you don't
good
just
observation.
you
Yes.
don't just have bounce houses. I saw one video, a more recent video of an entire poker setup, and that goes up like a bounce house, but it's a
For adults.
poker, not poker, a whole casino thing.
It's
Like
the
they
mega
have a
casino.
blackjack, roulette, all this stuff, and it's all inflatable. And the table where they play is inflatable, and then you have tables and chairs with umbrellas and stuff, and your linens have like your logo kind of thing.
Yeah.
So why don't you get into that, the renting the experience? Because I'm sure you just do regular bounce houses. We have a question if you do bounce houses, but your bounce houses are a little more elaborate.
Right. Our core culture is corporate. The nice thing, and this not to discourage the newbies that are coming into the quiver of rentals, and particularly tent rentals. It takes years to develop the contacts to really have corporate culture, and that corporate culture is very valuable, and it grows. We service a majority of the Fortune 100 and 500 companies that are located here on the West Coast. We have big interactives, large slides. We have portable zip lines, rock walls, and stuff like that. Again, the people that choose to use us are looking for a event production company that focuses on dynamic social interaction. And I think when we get out of this COVID craze, I think the need for dynamic social interaction is going to be huge. Now, for the people in the rental industry looking for another arm, business is like a wheel. You start off with one spoke, tents, and then you get into maybe tables and chairs, and then maybe you get into pipe and drape if you're doing indoor events. Maybe you get into tables and or linens, or start stocking, lighting, or hook up with a local AV company, or hook up with a local DJ, and so on. There's a lot of needs for partnerships, because people that put together the larger corporate style, bigger events, they're looking for a turnkey go-to. They want a person that can be accountable for the whole thing and make it super simple, super easy. A year and a half ago, we started a company called Mega Manufacturing, and we spent all kinds of money, literally every penny I had, and then some, and went into the IAPA show of last year, 2019. And the orders that we took at the IAPA show all canceled in March. And again, with not just the cancellation of the rental business, but we then had all the product that we just developed, spent a ton of money on patents. We've got a couple unique patents. I was planning on joining the BK Club and joining the rest of half of Southern California, living under the bridges down here. And by the grace of God, and I'm telling you, it's really by the grace of God, we were able to pivot and use some of the stuff that we were doing at the IAPA show. And you can call it luck, you can call it divine grace. We set up a clear curtain at a senior living center so I could visit my own mother-in-law. And you wouldn't think, like, big deal, it's just a pipe and drape with a clear curtain. Well, that senior center happened to be owned by 76 other centers, and they're like, what a great idea. We would like to buy some. How many you want to buy? We want to buy 80. And I'm like, maybe I need to be making these clear curtains. So we've actually, we've rented all of our tents out. Half of our tables and chairs are out. We're getting monthly revenue on that. We did sell, like you, we sold a few tents, got rid of some old stock, and took advantage of the cash flow to help dig out of a hole, because we had a big hole going into March, April, with everybody, canceling. We had $1 million in events canceled between March 15th and April 15th. And then I'm sitting down with my CPA trying to explain what I'm going to do. And he was like, I'm sorry, dude, the PPE is just not enough to buy a year, maybe even 2 years before we see the larger events come back. So all that to say, we made a big pivot from production, and I'm in my production warehouse right now. We're shooting videos with the pipe and drape. We got a big sewing table in back there. We got some pretty cool machinery for doing grommets. I'm sitting actually in a sewing station. That's a big old commercial sewing machine right there. So as I talk to you, I'm literally on a 3-foot elevated sewing table where we do a lot of custom type stuff, custom branded tents. We do shields now, full barriers. I don't know how well you could see this.
Oh,
But
yeah, I can see it on the side, kind of. All right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. I
So
see. So
this
yeah,
is a better.
you're using the clear
Yeah,
vinyl to
check it.
make.
Yeah. So we took that's a regular table, right?
Yeah.
And we made a 20 gauge vinyl cover, put a marquee on the top because we do a lot of marquees. I'll tell you, for tents, the marquees are money makers. Get to know your local digital printer. Come up with a poll system that's easy. I could forward you a link on some great deals on polls. But when you put custom marquees on these tents, we get about $110 per 10-foot tent, and the cost is about $35. It does take 10-15 minutes to install, but just that marquee alone has made me a lot of money over the years. But what we're doing now is we're selling these check-in stations for like the COVID centers and stuff like that so that they can have proper protection. As you know, plexiglass can break and it can be dangerous and it can be hard to store and move. And so we've come up with a soft system and a unique table fulcrum, and patent pending, by the way.
Okay.
But we have a very unique system that you might see even in some trade shows. We're going after the trade show business right now, trying to help. If you've heard of Freeman's, GES, I've been a member of the ARA for 23 years, IAPA, the NACE, National Association of Catering Executive Directors, MPI, Meeting Planner International, and so on. And so we're really trying to get these trade shows back into life because that's where you drive business. That's where you shake hands. That's where you make contacts and networks. And a lot of people aren't making it. And so the newbies that are getting in, hang in there, because when this is over, there's going to be a demand that is going to be mind-boggling. It'll be big, but you just got to stay in the game.
So let's get into, because we got a few bounce house people in here, and I just lost it. What are you manufacturing? So right now, I know you took your, what's the name of Mega what?
Mega Manufacturing.
Mega Manufacturing. You pivoted that into making clear things and keeping everyone safe, and obviously that's doing decently well for you, right? Like it's probably not making back all the money from Mega Manufacturing,
but I'm here
to make, but you're there.
Yeah.
So when Mega Manufacturing comes back into manufacturing not just bounce houses, these are interactive things. Like I saw one where people are running inside and trying to like go from wall to wall and like push a light or something. So once you
reaction attraction. So that's what we're focusing on. We want to be able to provide adult backyard pieces. We have an escape room that we're going to be launching. We did a pre-launch at IAPA, but we're relaunching it. We have an inflatable escape room that sets up in 15 minutes. It takes up an 18 by 18 footprint, weighs 260 pounds, and it has a very immersive experience for families of 4 to 10, and it's designed for the whole family. We have that same unit structure that can be converted into a 4-player virtual reality. That same structure has a golf theme. So like if you were doing a 50-year-old birthday party for a golfer type, you could have a very interactive golf experience with the same unit. So we're going after a market that is so missed. You know, we see these backyard bouncers. Everybody wants to take care of the kids. And I've seen this in corporate picnics. You know, 10 years ago, that's all they cared about. We need a lot of bouncers for the kids. Well, 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years ago, I started getting a lot of our bigger customers going, we need something for the executives. We need something for the people writing the check. We need something for the adults that actually make our company. So we have really shifted our energies while we still have an inventory of slide, obstacle, bouncer. So those are your 3 staples in the rental business: slide, obstacle, bouncer. We still carry a pretty good inventory. We focus on theme events, so we have different themes of each. However, all of our manufacturing energy / development is going into adult pieces that will be used from corporate to backyards for the purpose of celebrating adult dynamic interaction, because nobody, and I mean nobody, is doing this in the world. They're all just doing bouncers. And if you got bouncers, keep doing them. But those same people that have little Bobby's birthday party when he's turning 5, they're going to turn 30, they're going to turn 35, they're going to turn 40, they're going to have a family reunion, and they're going to want to do some dynamic stuff that they're going to have with other people of their age and of interaction. The rental industry can be just a straight service where you come drop off stuff and leave, or we can be part of an orchestration of creating, like you caught on early, and we didn't talk prior, so you nailed it. We
No,
sell experiences. We sell
my
experiences, and memory is worth a lot of money. So building a good memory is really important to us, and that's the stuff we're focusing on.
Yeah, I didn't get that from my own brain. This guy right here, your Party Rental Knowledge, he actually grew up in the carnival and is trying to get, he's going after the corporate stuff. So I think this stuff is going to be good for him because he's the one who said he's renting an experience.
That's a great observation. And again, what I love about your site, what I love about what you're doing is you're empowering people to take control of a hobby job in the beginning where they can, kickstart some weekend events with some tent rentals here and there. It's natural to get tables and chairs to go with that. It's natural to have a bouncer. I'm looking for people that have been doing that for 4 or 5 years, and they're ready to step up another campaign to go more full-time. And that's going to be where you're going to see corporate culture wanting to do Monday through Thursday activities designed for interacting. Now we got people locked up in their homes, working from home. The need for corporate culture to reconnect their communities is going to be huge. I can't tell you when it's going to be huge.
Right.
I hope I'm alive and I hope I'm around because I'm waiting it out. However, when that happens, the need for adult experiences are going to be huge.
Yeah,
and
I can see when everyone is allowed to go back and they all open back up within a month or two, having a corporate thing at your company like this would be like a good team building, bringing everyone back into, the culture.
Yeah, and if they have a family event, well, you still have the bouncers for them.
Right.
But you're always going to need shade here in Southern California, and you're going to need misters, and you're going to need seating, and you're going to need tables and catering. There's a lot of different spokes to a big event wheel. But if you're going to get started, I've had people ask, how do I get started? Do I do bouncers or do I do tables, chairs, and tents? And honestly, tables, chairs, and tents are overlooked and missed. People they go buy a bouncer. Well, when you buy a bouncer, you're immediately lining yourself up with about 50 competitors in your backyard. Right. When you do tents, tables, and chairs, you only have probably a few, and it gives you a little more opportunity to nurture the type of relationships that can grow. And that's schools, that's churches, that's corporate culture, or that's Mrs. Jones that works for, Starbucks that really had a good experience and will hand deliver your brochure to HR that's putting together either a team builder or a picnic or what have you. And it takes tenacity and time, but if you just keep trudging that road, you will find that happy destiny.
Yeah, that's good. It takes time. There was this one caterer I wanted to get with for like 6 years. I just sent him an email every month, and then eventually he was unhappy with the tent that was up and called me, and ever since then he uses me, and I make a crap ton of money off of him.
I think I've made more relationships off of fixing problems than I have provided on just providing good service. When you can be a superhero rental company and come in last minute and pull together a sound package, a tent package, you got them for life. It's a relationship at that point. They'll be coming over for Thanksgiving dinner in a year or two.
Right. Speaking of this being a superhero, so you mentioned that companies they call you, they want to deal with you. You'll sub-rent tents. It's just easier for them to deal with you. So we got a question kind of on that. Can you talk more about strategic partnerships with other suppliers? Many wheels in the event business. It's hard for one company to do it all, but people want a single contact. So I imagine you do catering now, but I imagine you got a lot of people to help you with these events.
In a nutshell, you have to reverse engineer your core values. You got to really decide what you want to be good at, because if you're just okay and you grow okay, you're not going to get too far. So if you decide you want to go after corporate just out of the gate, you've got to be strategically partnered with a couple different catering companies. If you don't have a decent quiver of rides, you're going to need to find someone that does, because when you have a large, let's say 300 to 500 person picnic, $80 a head, they're going to want, some demographical design. In other words, when you make your quote, you want to know what your throughput is for the 2 to 5 year olds. You need to know what your throughput is for the 5 to 8 year olds, the teens and the tweens and the little toddlers. They all have to be able to have experience and have something going on. At the same time, you need to have a good DJ, MC / AV company that can provide good ambient sound. I highly recommend a company that knows how to do satellite sound. A wedding DJ is a great DJ with usually not enough equipment. When it comes to AV, if you're going to go after any kind of larger picnic or corporate culture, satellite sound is the best way to go. And what that means is you have your DJ with his little 2 speakers on each side, but then 100 feet out, you got another set of speakers and so on. We do events for 2,000-3,000 people. We do a 6,500 person Amazon event, and we have 60 speakers spread out every 150 feet over 3 baseball fields to service that type of crowd. And that's because I have a team and resources, and the strategic partnership thing, you all grow together. And so if you're just getting started, I would literally, honestly, go have coffee with the local caterer and ask them what you can do to help them. I'm an old Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey fan. If you find people that are really high up in the event industry, their expectations of your service is going to be really high, and you might burn a bridge with your first opportunity. If you are ready for that, then dive in and go after the biggest catering company, in your neighborhood. But catering company, so in my opinion, and this could be argued, corporate culture, the first thing they think about is food.
Right.
And then location, and then the location dictates shade, seating, throughput, point of entry. Are we going to terrace everything for first impression? Are we going to contain it because we have alcohol and have to do ID checks? There's a lot of variables based on the location. Monday through Thursday, most of our events are usually at corporate locations, like parking lots. But Friday, Saturday, Sundays are park events. And those have a completely different dynamic, different team relationships. Like the best deal I get on tents from one company is a Monday through Thursday. But I have another company I use on the weekends because they have enough inventory to give me a great deal on the weekends. And we all get along pretty good. We make sure that we don't step on toes, and ethics are critical. Never try and sub-advertise. If you're a sub on an event, you work for whoever is the lead. I've seen some really good guys burn big bridges because they thought they could slip their card to the actual corporate customer, and that's how you lose a team. But a common team is going to have a good audio visual, 1 or 2 connections, several connections in the DJ world, because you want to use DJs like you would use a theme ride. You want to fit the right DJ. Field games is a big part of culture here in California. That takes a good energy type of MC that has fun games to really get people going, kind of a pseudo team building thing. And then, of course, rentals. You want to make sure that you can rent 4 times whatever your inventory is. If you don't have a relationship to where if you get a phone call, accidentally your big local corporate guy calls you and they need 60 10-bys for a health fair they're doing on site, and you got 6 hours for a setup, it's a 4-hour gig, and they want to lock the parking lot by 10 p.m., how are you going to do that when you have 15 10-bys? You have to have that kind of team of connections, because with those tents, they're going to have tables. With the tables are going to be chairs. With the chairs are going to be linens. So are you stocking all that? If you're not, you better be ready to be able to spit out a quote, or at least talk savvy enough to secure that deal if you're the direct phone call. If you're being brought in to be the tent guy with the other guy, nurture that relationship until you have your opportunity to get direct contacts, because it's really tempting to see somebody get a big contact and want to try and sub-market to them. Smartest thing I've done, and believe me, I'm not the brightest bulb on the shelf. I've maintained a strong ethic with never going after my wholesale customers' clients. Right. I just do it. And I've had people look me up. I've had people go walk me back to my truck and see on my truck my logo, and I just let them know that I cannot ever directly work with them. And that is important to build a team of trust, good ethics. And if you take care of it and it's win-win, whether you just have 1 tent, 1 bouncer, and 1 table and 8 chairs, you can still grow from that, because it's having a chance to market, get out there, someone at school, somebody at church, somebody at the local bar scene, whatever your thing is, you're going to end up being in a position where somebody needs something that you have and have a connection with. So Be ready. to jump on it when it happens. There's a lot more spokes to holiday parties, to weddings and all that stuff, but I'm talking about the generic celebration, outdoor,
Right.
summer fun, picnic.
So no matter what it is, it's number one, pick your, you said core. So just pick the route you're going to take. Like for me, it's backyard parties and big wedding tents. Decide what you're going to do. For all those other things that you don't really want to do, or that you're just going to be okay at, have some relationships and have more than just one, so that if you get those big phone calls and you get 20 tents from here, 20 tents from there, or whatever, that sounds like the key to, sub-renting and everything. Like I tried doing a drapery, like pretty drapery in wedding tents.
Swag in your tents.
Swag. I just realized we suck at it. By the time we're putting up the swag, we got dirty hands, and it's another 2 hours of being there. I was
and it's never right.
Yeah, it's never right. Never looks as good.
Ruffled right.
Yeah, so we'll just get some other person to do that, the next day after we leave or something. It's not something that I want to get really good at. Same thing with linens. I don't want to own a bunch of linens, so I just have 2 companies that I can sub-rent from. They mail them to you, and you have them, and you don't have to be good at linens. You don't have to wash linens. So that I just was trying to boil down what you were saying.
Yeah, that's a good assimilation. The thing I will say, if you're going to be a long hauler in this industry, be willing to be stretched. You will go crazy if you don't allow yourself to answer the phone call for the 6th grade celebration, for the senior prom, or for the grad party. We used to make grad parties were a huge thing for us back in the grad party era. Now they all go to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm. But being able to flex with client requests, being able to go with it and have the right people around you is really important. Because it's fun, and you get to do events that stretch you and keep you fresh, and it just sharpens you. And you might find that there's things, you might own a photo booth. You might be doing a few events with a photo booth company. You're like, you know what? I like that. I can do that. I'm going to go buy a photo booth. Bam. Now you've expanded your portfolio to now you got a photo booth. Then maybe you want to buy one of our escape rooms, and you got a portable escape company. I mean, anything and everything is out there. I thought I was going to be a youth pastor, and here I am running around the West Coast doing a lot of corporate events, doing unique team building events. We have indoor packages, hotel packages, and outdoor packages.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I've seen some on some of the Facebook groups, some guys who do corporate events, but it's all indoors, and they bring like the whack-a-mole and the arcades and the pool tables and stuff. Do you do that too, or do you just try to stick to the outdoor?
We have a pretty large portable billiard department. We keep it pretty traditional. I did chase after the coin op style games in the Y2K era. We stocked about 30, 40 video games like that. That didn't work out so good. We made a portable version. Remember Dance Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
I probably rented 100 of those in a year period of time. We found portable mats. We hooked up to a TV and used I think it was a Xbox or PS1, 2, or 3 or whatever, and we did incredibly well. Again, that was a situation where, based on requests and seeing needs, I took the risk and said, yeah, I got that. And the next thing I know, I'm doing grad parties. The next thing I know, I'm doing corporate team builders. The next thing I know, I'm in trade show booth at a massive Vegas convention with Microsoft, trying just to be a draw to get people into their booth. Right. And so you don't know what's out there. So be open and have a broad team and a broad mind, and be willing to have fun. If you're enjoying yourself, you're doing a really good job. If you're kicking yourself in the butt doing that event that you thought was going to be a 80% net event, it turns out it's a 10% net event, then you need to reevaluate and try and hit reset. But I've been doing it a long time. I've had burnout. I'm sick of this. I went through a period of time, and if you talk to my employees, you'd laugh. If I saw another piece of vinyl anywhere near me, at one point I was going to die. I have seen more vinyl in my lifetime than any generation of people should ever see. You wouldn't believe me if I told you how many bouncers we've purchased over the last 25 years. And I have a container that I can't even give. We've been trying to donate them to Tecate, Mexico. And because they cost $50 to get across the border, we can't even give away bouncers. So any of you guys want some free stuff, just come to California with a truck and pick it up.
Oh boy.
I've got a 48-foot semi with about 80 inflatables that literally don't fit our focus and style and themes and genres that we focus on. And I'll just throw that out there. But for sure, stay fresh. Always be doing something that's stretching yourself. Don't be afraid to jump in and add the picture booth, the face painter, the walking, juggling stilt artist that does crazy stuff. I mean, just be open to that. It makes it more palatable and more enjoyable, which is what this is really about.
Right. Yeah. Basically, that's how I got to the point where I got, because people would say, "Can you do this?" And I said, "How long is it until it? 6 months?" Yeah. And then I got 6 months to figure it out. And then also just being, like you're saying, being on a site and you see this and you see that. So I was seeing restroom trailers. I'm like, I think we should do some restroom trailers. So then we got that. I was seeing, other companies' dishes there. So I started doing that.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Yeah. And the photo booth guy I had on a little while ago was a DJ, and he saw us photo booths when he was DJing. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do photo booths. Now he's a multi-million-dollar photo booth company. There's a lot of pieces to the event pie, and there's corporate, there's the catering for it, there's the tents, the tables, the chairs, there's weddings, backyard parties, there's just the normal bounce houses. I'm going to check out. I didn't get that long because there was supposed to be a wedding planner on, and last week her grandfather died, and this week she was sick. So Tim here just was like, I'll come on. So this was all real quick. So I only looked at your Instagram for a little bit, got a little bit of a background, but I'm really intrigued by the renting the experience, those really cool inflatable things that are like really fun for adults. So I'm going to check that out more.
That will be the future.
Tell everyone your Instagram or where they can go see this stuff.
So event_guy is my Instagram. I'm not the most socially savvy person out there. I have a couple of different Facebook's accounts, but if you want to see the Mega product line, there's megaentertainmentinc.com, and then there's Mega Manufacturing or Mega Creation Inc.com. Those are both plural, and Mega Creations Inc. and Mega Entertainment Inc. will show you the adult pieces and the focus on innovation. We are trying to use national DMCs. DMCs are destination management companies that handle massive logistics for bringing in 800 people, hotel, moving them, feeding them, and all that. And we're trying to connect and have a franchise opportunity where it'll be incredibly affordable to have the Mega product line, which will be 92% adult focused, 100% interactive focused. And the cool thing is nothing has an inflatable bottom structure. So if you've done the insurance shopping for bouncers, you'll find that if it's got an inflatable bottom on it, you're going to be spending 25 times the insurance. Our product is more similar to a tent insurance than it is a bouncer company. If you already have bouncers and you already have insurance, then great. But if you are looking for the next generation thinking, I'm pretty passionate about the direction we're going. We'll be launching everything at the Escape Room, it's a Halloween haunt convention in May. It's in St. Louis. It's large. And then we'll be back at IAPA. I'll probably be February next year at the ARA when it's back in, I think it'll be in Vegas this next year. When it's on the West Coast, I go. So if you're out there and you're trying to grow rental ideas, hit a trade show, bring a couple of your workers. It's a super good morale booster, super good energy thing. It's really easy to spend too much money at a trade show. So come with discipline and with core values in focus, and then see what's out there. But if you're looking to grow from tents and you're looking to find some unique opportunities, and we don't have a ton of stuff on the Mega Entertainment website. We have an amazing amount of product that will be available online in April and for sale in May. And if you can make it to the Haunt Show in St. Louis, come on out to the Haunt Show. They have a huge section just for escape rooms, both brick and mortar and portable. They have a huge area for the pumpkin patch people, the horror people, and then they have the Christmas tree people. It's a very large trade show with all kinds of ideas. And God willing, that trade show will happen, and we have a very large presence there, and we'll be showcasing several of our new pieces that are pretty exciting.
Awesome. So everyone, I'm gonna get those names again for the website and put it in the description. So just check down in the description and go check those out, because really they're really cool. Like, I honestly don't like bounce houses or the thought of a bounce house company, but then seeing these things is like, oh, okay, this is a whole different approach to it. So I think it's really cool. Well, I want to thank you for being on, and everyone, go check that out. And if you do have a bounce house company or a tent company or any event company, check it out, because it's something you can add to it, and maybe you'll be doing corporate events in the future. So thank you for being on.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, thank you. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.